Hey everybody, it's Brian from Phone Arena, and we are looking at the Samsung Galaxy Express from AT&T. Now the Galaxy Express may look familiar. Like many of the other Galaxy devices, it takes its cues from the Samsung Galaxy S3. You have the physical home button, flanked by two capacitive buttons, the menu in the back down below. Up top, the shiny speaker grille, and around back you have a prominent camera up top, and that's about it. So in terms of design, this is very straightforward. It is actually about the same size as the Galaxy S3, even though this is only a 4.5-inch display. That's because there's a lot more room down at the bottom and the top around the display. The bezels are larger on this than on Samsung's flagship device. Other than that, you're going to have a volume rocker on the side here. As you can see, that is all one button, so you just kind of have to know to press on the top or on the bottom for volume up or volume down. Seems logical, but the bottom button is pretty small, and we'd actually prefer to see a larger button with maybe a little bit of a physical break in between the two sides, even if it still is one button. And then over on the right side you have the power button, pretty standard. Headset jack on top and the micro USB charging port down below. Now you can see this is running Samsung's Nature UX. No surprise here, this is TouchWiz on top of Android 4.04 Ice Cream Sandwich. A little bit of a disappointment to not see it running Jelly Bean, but that's what it is with these lower end devices. We have loaded a few applications on here ourselves, but for the most part there's a whole lot of bloatware, a lot of stuff that was loaded by either Samsung or AT&T. There's a lot of memory on this device. It's got 8 gigs with 5 available to the user, so from that front it's no big deal. It's not like it's slowing the phone's performance, but at the same time we don't like seeing all this extra programming on the phone, and these apps cannot be deleted. However, thanks to Android 4.0 you can at least disable them. Pretty much everything we're used to with TouchWiz here, nothing really new. It doesn't have any of the really cool features that we see on the Galaxy Note and now the Galaxy S3 with the multi-window, but your standard TouchWiz experience. It runs nice and quickly thanks to the Snapdragon S4 Plus processor. It's a dual-core clocked at 1.5 gigahertz and paired with a gig of RAM, so quite a speedy performance. While it sounds pretty nice, and some of the high-end phones from earlier in the year were powered by a similar setup, this device is mid-range, and a lot of the mid-range phones have a similar, if not the exact same setup. So these mid-range phones are really kind of coming into their own in terms of power. Let's take a quick look at the browser performance here for you. As you can see, our page loaded just fine, no problems. You have your standard pinch to zoom, double tap. It rotates just fine for you. Down on the bottom here you've got a little drawer for some quick apps, things like that. So that's the stock browser. We prefer Chrome, which again is going to perform pretty much as we expected here. Everything runs nice and smoothly, nice and fluidly, no issues when you're panning or zooming or anything. So a real nice full-featured web experience, which from an Android 4.0 device is something that you'd expect these days. On the multimedia side, as we mentioned earlier, there's a 5-megapixel camera, and that's paired with a single LED flash. Camera was about on par with the mid-range device, nothing too special. You're not going to be printing out any award-winning photos with the Galaxy, but at the same time it's just fine for taking pictures, sharing them with Facebook. It is capable of 720p HD video recording, so you can share videos with YouTube and whatnot. Also on the multimedia side, you see we have Google Play Music as well as Samsung's own music player installed. Just a couple different options. Obviously Google's going to give you the cloud streaming option, but music player, video player, all that kind of stuff, just exactly as we would expect. Nothing new here to report, and it works just fine. Overall, callers said we were pretty good on the device. They complained that we were a little bit hollow, that it picked up background noise a little bit too much, but on the whole they said we sounded clear enough. There was no issues having the conversation. So battery life, rated for 14 hours. It's a 2000 milliamp battery, so it's a larger battery. Of course it is user replaceable, so you can also see you got the little SIM card there and the micro SD slot. So again, pretty much standard fare. And that's really what we kind of came down to with the Galaxy Express. It's a very standard mid-range Android phone. It does everything just fine, didn't give us any problems, didn't hang up on us, it runs plenty speedily, but the design is kind of bland. And at $100 on contract, it's at least $50 more than competitors from HTC, LG, and Pantech, all of which have a better display, higher PPI, and basically the same or exactly the same internals. So we're not really sure how the Galaxy Express fits into AT&T's lineup. Something like the HTC One VX is arguably a prettier phone. It's got a better display with the Super LCD 2 at a higher resolution. And then again, the same exact internals, LTE, all the bells and whistles you'd expect from a modern smartphone. So good device, just not sure it's the best choice at the current price.